There is a name that we give to the people that wake up in the morning and doesn't know what they're doing. These people usually just go with the flow. They improvise in every single situation in life. And guess what? We call them most people. Yes, you heard me well. Most people. Most people come to this earth and don't know what they are doing. Why? For which reason? Because our educational system just teaches us how to plan a career. Our banks, they might teach you how to plan your financial life. But no one in our society teaches us how to make a consistent life plan. And guess what? If you don't know where you are going, you will become a pawn that is driven, that is taken by every single situation. Your personality will be fragmented. So in today's video, we are here to make a consistent life plan and to show you the importance of making one. So the idea of this class didn't come from me. It came from my students that I have in the church. I gave a class about the Purgatory last Monday to them, and I talk a little bit about that. And our culture don't have the habit of meditating about death. Our culture don't have the habit of meditating. Because of that, we don't meditate, we don't make a plan, and we live life like we will be young forever. What I didn't expect on that class is the reaction of my students. It looked like something clicked to them, like, boom, I need to plan my life though. I really need to plan my life. And after I saw that kind of reaction and how much struggle, how much pain that cure on them, I was like, I will bring that to YouTube. Of course, we don't have the same interaction because I don't know if you guys send me feedback through the comments, you help me a lot. But I will bring the same concepts that I gave to them to here and give me the idea of this video. So our society, we don't meditate about that. The class was about that. We don't meditate about that. And because of that, we don't plan our lives. And we live life like we will be immortal. Like we will be in this earth forever. And everything is okay. And the main culture teaches you that you should prioritize cheap pleasure over meaningful things. If you see the structure of social media, if you see the structure of iPads, computers, even the light of it and so on, is all created to give you a stimuli. It's all about that. To make you addicted to it, to make you a prisoner, and not think about these big questions. It's not thinking about planning your life at all. Because once you plan your life, a human being that plans his life has the beginning of freedom. There is no saint that didn't plan his life. And although in some saints you don't see specifically writing in a piece of paper, I want to be a saint, I want to go to heaven, but they had really clear the direction that they want to be. And we in the church, sometimes we think that it's all automatic mode. That just going to the church automatically and doing nothing will bring us to heaven. But guess what? Doing nothing is your highway to go to hell. Not doing anything is the way to go to hell. And most people, I'm not saying that most people go to hell, but what I'm just saying is that the natural tendency of everything in this earth is, if you don't do anything, things deteriorate. You know, St. Augustine says, there is no stagnation in spiritual life. If you're not making progress, you are going backwards. And if you don't have a direction, my friend, for sure you're not making progress. Because if you have a direction, at least if you feel stuck, you're making progress because you know that you're stuck at some point. But if you don't have a direction, you're just going a little bit here, a little bit there, and so on. And then comes the importance of having a plan in our lives. You know, having a concrete plan in our lives. Because guess what? We will die. We will die. We will die, my friend. We will die. I will die. And every time that I talk about this, in the back of my head, I have my sins that torture me and so on and so on. And I try to be more compassionate with myself. But the thing is, we can't stop fighting. we can't stop fighting. Even though we have our problems. And sometimes we are so afraid of confronting death. But guess what? If you don't confront death, you cannot make a good plan. Because when we pray the Hail Mary, we just ask for 2 moments. In the now and the moment of our death. And guess what? Guess why we do that? We do that because they are the only moments that we have certainty about. We have the certainty that we are here now and that we will die. It doesn't matter from which part of the journey, what are your problems, what are your sins, how much a mess you are. You need a plan. Doesn't matter how perfect you think you are. You need a plan. Because you will die. You become ash again. And we will confront the final judgment. And of course, God is mercy and so on. But being a saint is also at the same time what will bring us the most happiness in this earth. The Christian journey is amazing. I am in this journey. I started this Christian journey, per se, since 2019 is when I started my studying life. And making a life plan is so important. If you don't confront death, what will happen is that every single meaning that you find here will be irrelevant because you're just a fool. You're not considering the most important thing. If I ask you in a bus where you are going, you will tell me, oh, I'm going to New York City. I'm going to, I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter where you live. But you will tell me the city that you're going to. But if I ask you where you're going, you're in the bus, and you tell me, I don't know, I just entered in the bus, you will feel that is weird. But when we ask someone where they are going to live, they just say that they don't know. And this fear of confronting death and making a plan comes because we know the mess that we are. And guess what? Sometimes the only solution is to confront your fears. And doesn't matter how much mess you are, God is merciful. Is trusting the mercy of Him. That's the hardest part, but trusting His mercy. And I'm saying from personal experience, trusting His mercy. Like I said, every time that I meditate about death, sometimes come my sins, and I don't want to create more anxiety in your lives. The point isn't that. The point is to put order. And confronting your mess is part of it. And by confronting death, you need to confront your mess, because we believe that we have an afterlife. We are not atheists that believe that there is nothing and the rules are arbitrary. It was just made by society, and so on. That's the thing. And so we need to confront death. But how do we do that? How do we confront death? Yes, Daniel, I feel lost. The great thing about having a religion and having a religion like Catholicism is that, like I said in my videos, Catholicism is the most rational religion that you possibly have. So usually when you have questions, it's not because the church doesn't have the answers. It's just because you either didn't have the information or the answer didn't arrive yet. There is a gap, of course. The church tradition is really rich and you need some time to digest the stuff inside. And one of the great things is that we have already the general goal of our life. And this general goal is becoming a saint. The problem comes now, how so? And how to become a saint in my specific situation. Because becoming a saint is not about becoming a saint in broad. It's not for you to become like Saint Ignatius. It's not for you to become like Saint Teresa of Avila or Saint Francis of Assisi. It's about you becoming a saint. It's about you, me, becoming a saint. Not with our strength, with God's grace, of course, but cooperating with grace. And how we cooperate then. And the answer, this exercise that I want to give to you, it's about that. To little by little, with time, because these questions, they are not answered in 1 week. They are not answered in 3 weeks. They're not answered in 3 months. They're not answered in 3 years sometimes. Depends in which part of the journey you started. Sometimes you had horrible parents and you have a really destroyed background and you start a little bit from the bottom. And that's fine. That's fine. So taking a little bit more is understandable. And you have more merits if you transcend the situation. Okay? If you have the direction. Sometimes you start a little bit above, like parents are Catholic, really holy family, they give you a nice formation and so on. It has the habit of answering these questions. So you're a little bit further in the journey. So you can do more good or you can go further, and of course you can get married too to heaven and so on and become a great saint, and this guy here also become a great saint. The outcomes will be different, but what you guys will create is gold. Either the guy that came from the bottom to the top or the guy that stopped to the top and going even further. Okay? We have people that came from really the bottom like St. Augustine, and we have people that came from the top like St. Thomas. Both of them has huge contribution for the church. Okay, like St. Francis of Assisi also came from the really bottom, just care about the world and so on and so on and so on. Okay, Daniel, you're saying all this stuff? I totally get you, but please tell me this exercise. I will tell you the exercise, okay? Be patient. The problem of not having a plan is because we feel lost. We are playing like a football game, but it's like playing without a coach. The role of the coach is to look the team from outside, from an outsider perspective, and judge the situation and arrange each team member. Now it's the World Cup, right? So you can see that the coach is doing that. He's arranging every single football player to play their role better or change accordingly to the circumstances. And if we don't have a plan, the idea of this plan is to become your coach. Okay, how so? How so? Tell me. You need to take a piece of paper and write in the third person as if you were a friend of yours telling who you were in the moment of your death. And it needs to be a third person because it means that it was visible to someone. Imagine the moment of your funeral or someone writing who Daniel was, who John was, who, I don't know, Cyan was, who Diana was, who you are, okay, who you were. And project who you want to be, okay, and be really, really honest, okay? Of course, by the nature of this exercise, it shouldn't be long, guys. Don't put 2 pages. Maximum 1 page, okay? Who you were. I was Daniel, Then, by the nature of this exercise, like I was saying, you will not make this once. You will make this the first time, and then you will have a direction. Like, I want to be this. And this will be your football coach. This is the best part of you coming out. Okay? So, imagine you start to write, I was Daniel. I want to teach people and help people with their existential crisis and give people a hope, blah, 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 and all this stuff, right? And Daniel was, like, I'm imagining in my head, but I start to write, like, from a friend of mine, probably my girlfriend. So I love Daniel like I was my girlfriend. I love Daniel so much, blah, 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 blah. He did this, and that. He was this kind of person. He helped so many people, blah, 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 blah. And dream big, okay? Dream big. Start to write it down. And once you are writing it down, dream big. This will be your coach. Why I say that? Because this part of you is the best part of you. This is the best part of you. There is a psychologist. I have his book here, but he's holding my camera, and I cannot show you the book. Okay, his name is Rudolf Allers. I think I have his book here. This is his book. His name is Rudolf Allers. Rudolf Allers, this guy here. He was one of the disciples of not just study psychoanalysis Freud, but he studied with Alfred Adler, and he disagreed with psychoanalysis, okay? If you guys are not inside of psychology, it doesn't matter. But this guy was really important because he was one of the big names of one of the 3 schools of what we call Vienna, psychoanalysis, the collective unconscious of Jung, and he was a teacher of Viktor Frankl, that the inventor of logotherapy. Did you hear about the book, Man Searching for Meaning? Yes, this guy was a teacher of Viktor Frankl. And many of the stuff that Viktor Frankl took was from this guy. And one of the concepts that he takes That's why I've made so much effort to show you guys the book. It is the divide will from St. Augustine, and he developed this concept. And we have a divide will. So imagine that your heart is divided. We want many stuff at the same time. And some of this stuff is good, some of this stuff is bad. And these exercise will help you filter the good stuff. The good stuff. Oh, but it could be a mixture. It could be a mixture of vainglory with the goal that I want. Yes, but you will purify it with time. The idea is that you project the maximum that you can be, the best version of yourself. And this version is so yourself that people can see. And the ideal is that you become that version and be that version 24/7. Okay? 24 hours per day and 7 days a week. Is that okay? So in this way, this will become, with time, of course, because you will be purifying it. You're right here, and then you start to apply. Okay, now I know that I want to be this person. What I need to do today. So you see that the coach, this is the good part of you, is judging you already. What I need to do today. And then you do another practical plan. Okay, I want to be, I don't know, I want to be a psychologist, for example. So what are the steps I need to take? Maybe I need to take a bachelor degree, or I already have a bachelor in something else. So I would do a master, I would do a PhD to the diploma. I was a priest. Where should I study? What are the most relevant things in order for me to be a good Catholic counselor? And so on and so on and so on. And you write it down. And the thing is, you write it in the first month, and then you start to apply it. And then reality does resistance on you. This is the interesting thing, my friend. It does resistance on you. And then you're like, okay, do I really want this? It's big. You dream big. Dream big. It's not to change to something smaller. Dream big. And you need to want it. You need to want it and dream big, okay? Okay, so I thought that I wanted to be a psychologist, but then I realized, for example, in my country, in Brazil, that most of universities, they teach just psychoanalysis. And then you suddenly start to become conscious of your circumstances. And what happened is that if you get conscious of your circumstances, of what is happening around you, you're like, oh, so I see the need to give formation, for example, for counselors, for psychologists when they come out of school in future. So maybe I would change a little bit. Okay, I want to teach, but teaching is so broad. I want to create my own school, or something like that. And you will be filtrating until that becomes the most pure part of you. That part of you is the part that judges your bad part. Is the part that you bring to confession. And this is not me saying. It was that my favorite philosopher, Olavo de Carvalho from Brazil. This part, he gave this exercise, I'm not as smart. This part of you will be the part judging your confession. When you commit a sin, is that part of you that feels guilty? Is that part of you that repent? Is that part of you that texts the priest like, I need confession? Is that part of you? Is that part of you? And then suddenly you created a coach. And guess what? With years looking to this exercise and purifying it, one day you will arrive on the thing that you really is like, you will answer the final question that is, I discovered the thing that just me can do and now other people can do. And this is what Viktor Frankl, the guy that wrote Man Searching for Meaning, that was the disciple of this guy, said. This was the question that he asked. What that you can do that no one else can do. And one of my patients even said something way more poetic that is stuck in my mind. Finding your vocation is the feeling of heaven touching earth. So when you are doing something and you feel like heaven is touching earth, you found it. Repeat more of that. So, do you understand the importance of confronting death? Do you understand the importance of planning your life? Creating this artificial coach that projects your life, not from the perspective of 5 years, not 10, not 20, but your death. You're confronting death and you're looking back, life was worth it. I can die now. My life will be a movie that I will pay. I can die now. This exercise looks stupid when you say it, but it really works, guys. This exercise took me out of a cult, and this is an idea or a story for another video, but this exercise took me out of the code, and I will tell you guys what happened in another video. This is a story for another video. This exercise helped me so much to give direction to my life. And even if you don't have a direction, like Viktor Frankl says, trying to find meaning is already a life meaning. Trying to find a direction in life, trying to discover what is your vocation in this earth is already life meaning. And when I say vocation is not becoming priest or nun, please, is not that. It is finding what you come to do in this life, finding the thing that just you can do and no other person can do. Okay? So, like Olavo did too, and so on, he was a philosopher. I'm not even 1/4 or 1/5 or 1/10 of what he was. But if you guys want, I will leave an email, my email, in the description of the video, and you guys can send to me your exercise. You put in the title like death exercise, and I will answer. And maybe if you feel comfortable to, you say also in the email, if you feel comfortable, tell me if I can use your, of course anonymously, your exercise to show other people and make another video showing people how to do it. So see you guys. Smash the like button because this helps me. Give me feedback in the comments. And have a nice week. If you think that not making sex before marriage is just about an old rule that is there to make you feel pure and the church is just forcing you, my friend, you don't understand anything about marriage. It's not about making you feel sexually frustrated and obeying rules. It's more than that. It's about protecting the fundamentals of your relationship.